gentle listener, and welcome to Nocturnal Transmissions, the fortnightly podcast that brings you dark tales, both old and new, performed by your humble narrator, Kristin Holland. It's a spanking brand new year, and we're back to darken your door once again. So, let's get the weirdness back underway, shall we? For the first time in the year 2025, Nocturnal Transmissions is proud to present The Caravan by Mark Humphries. The Caravan by Mark Humphries. 2:25. The thief flinched as the gold rings clinked together. Chubby fingers entwined and rested on the paunch like royal slugs on a hilltop. Through a swollen eye, he watched the shell-suited man on the other side of the desk and braced for his punishment. The floor vibrated beneath his feet as the jukebox in the man's pub punched out another track, but he didn't notice. Blood dripped from his chin and spattered his t-shirt, marking the seconds. He waited for his sentence.
"Do you know who I am, boy?"
The thief hesitated. Tell the truth or lie? He opted for the former and nodded. Billy The Biz Sands leaned back on his office chair. It creaked but didn't buckle. He jiggled his slugs. The gold chunks scraped together. He looked at the ceiling and exhaled. The boy had heard about this ritual, the Biz's ring dance and skyward sigh before sentencing. It had done the rounds in all the market towns. The adolescent had believed it to be a myth. Until now. Billy's sudden grin revealed more gold. He stared at the teenager. He said,
"Good. Then you know not to fuck me about! Tyler Trodden from 21 Shithole Street."
Hot urine flushed down Tyler's leg. He released a whimper. Sands sniffed and wrinkled his nose.
"Oh, for fuck's sake. Listen to me, grammar boy. Future friggin' tense. I'm not gonna kill you, boy. Not yet, anyway."
He reached inside a drawer. Tyler jumped as he slammed it shut. Billy planted a box of tissues on the desk. The adolescent didn't move. The Biz scratched his blood vessel-swamped nose. He muttered,
"What was that? Oh, yeah. Nick and booze from one of me offies has a price, but an affordable price. Drowning your scrawny arse in the nearest river feels a little excessive. Don't you agree, boy?"
Tyler whispered, "Yes." His tongue poked a bloodied gummy stump. He winced. Taking the alcohol had made perfect sense at the time. Already drunk, he'd stumbled under the Billy's Boo sign above the off-license's door, focused on the end game. Sharon's spread legs. 6 bottles of Diamond White were the standard payment for favors. The gangster recrossed his gold-crusted fingers. He said,
"So, these are the reparations. You get me a caravan. Nothing fancy, boy, nothing too big either. And you're off the hook. You can sliver back under your rock."
Tyler Trodden swallowed. Even his throat hurt. He replied, A caravan?" The question scratched over sandpaper and wheezed through his broken teeth. Sands chuckled and imitated the thief's croak.
"Yes, a caravan."
He paused and counted his pudgy fingers. The shiny metal rasped.
"You've got 10 hours, boy."
His hairy hand rustled inside a red BFC, Billy's fried chicken, box. He withdrew a greasy wing.
"After that, I break a bone for every hour you're late."
He bit into the limb and snapped it in half. A slippery shard stuck to his chin. Trodden's tummy lurched. He bent forward as vomit joined the urine at his feet. He heard the gangster's chair protest again and tensed for the kick. Instead, there was a soft pat as the tissue box landed in the pool. Billy The Biz Sands stood over the cowering adolescent. He said,
"Clear your stinking mess up and get me my caravan, boy."
He growled.
10 hours.
4:41. Tyler Trodden idled to a stop in his neighbour's metro. An oversized ashtray on wheels, burn holes peppered its tobacco-stained seats. The afternoons were the best time to borrow the car. Frankie would be unconscious, adrift in a sea of crushed special brew cans. The old man's Best of Elvis pirate cassette was rattling in the tape deck. Tyler would have preferred Snoop Dogg or Cypress Hill, but beggars couldn't be choosers, and the clock was ticking. Tyler squinted through his puffy eye at the caravans for sale. They were housed inside a tall perimeter fence. He scanned the rim and swore. CCTV cameras perched at intervals along the barrier. A porter-cabin office stood beside the entrance. Prospective buyers and salespeople ambled between the mobile homes. Hooking up and towing a caravan in broad daylight would be madness. He'd never make it to the exit. He wasn't even sure if Frankie's banger would manage the load. He crawled forward in the metro and peered up at a sign displaying the opening hours. The place closed at 6 p.m. Tyler cocked his head. He whispered, "Doable," through his splintered teeth. Then he spotted something he hadn't considered. Clamps hugged every caravan wheel. He slurred a swear word. At that moment, Elvis's voice descended into a demonic drone and died. Trodden ejected the tape and watched it dangle from its shiny brown entrails. He swore a third time, and, stamping down on the accelerator, wheel spun away. 6:03. Tyler Trodden was beginning to panic. He took another huge pull on one of Frankie's crumpled Lambert and Butler and tried to order his thoughts. He couldn't just leave. The Biz knew his address. He cared about as much for his part-time mum as she did for him, but he had Stacy to consider. His little sister depended on him. Who would make her meals? Who would ensure she wore clean clothes every day to keep up appearances for the social services? And how ruthless would Billy's retribution be if he ran away? Would he stoop to harming a child? Tyler shook his head and took another drag. His blood ringed the cigarette filter. Not worth the risk. Maybe he could leave with Stacy, but where would they go? Nope. Why should she suffer for his dumb mistake? He'd passed a holidaymaker's caravan site outside a neighbouring village, but there was a barrier across the entrance with a key code. No chance. A group of travellers had also pitched up on a common in the next town. He thought, mess with Chippos? Exhaled and replied, "Fuck that." He looked at his Casio watch and farted. 7:02. Tyler Trodden slammed on the brakes and skidded to a halt on the country lane. A solitary caravan slouched in the middle of an overgrown field beyond a gate. Moss clung to its cream surface. The thief peered through the metro's yellowed passenger window. No lights were on inside the mobile home. There was no washing line or vehicle. Tyler's heart began to thud. He steered the car into a lay-by and doubled back. Despite his bruised, aching hip and suspected fractured rib, he was jogging, and a grin had cracked open his scabbed lip. He ignored the metallic taste of his own blood and ducked behind the hedgerow. He checked his watch and studied the caravan. No movement. He grabbed the gate and stopped. Someone was coming. 7:14. The man appeared from the opposite side of the field and was hurrying through the long grass. Trodden squatted and watched the newcomer. His face was chalk white. He was wearing a black suit, and a red-lined cape was flapping in his wake. A bulky sack was thumping against his back. Tyler squinted at the lanky visitor through the hedge. He reminded the teenager of a children's magician or Dracula. The stranger arrived at the caravan, let his load fall to the sodden earth, and scanned the surroundings. He peeked over his shoulder, fumbled inside his pockets, extracted a small key, and wiggled it into the lock. He took one final look around, yanked open the door, swung the bag inside, and slammed it shut again. Dracula cupped his face against the caravan window. Trodden's eyes widened, and a sudden shiver rippled down his back and arms. The caravan had begun to shake. A lot. 7:31. The skinny vampire flinched, twitched his head round to see the field again, and moved back to the filthy rocking home to enjoy whatever entertainment was occurring within. The caravan tilted to an impossible angle, suspended on the verge of toppling onto its side. Tyler waited for the crash, and then it juddered back onto its wheels. One rusty supporting leg screeched and bent. A loud bang echoed over the wet space, like a rock inside a hollow tin can. At that moment, the reverberations subsided, and the mobile home slumped. Like the immediate shock after a bomb blast, neither Tyler nor the caped stranger nor the caravan moved. All birdsong had ceased. Then Dracula released a howl of delight, pumped his bony arm into the damp air, and began to hop from foot to foot like Rumpelstiltskin. He spun 180 degrees on one shoe tip and sprinted back the way he had come. Tyler Trodden waited for the stranger to disappear, opened the gate, and hesitated. What the hell was in that caravan? He needed to know. 7:58. Tyler squashed his face against the grimy glass and peered inside. A cramped sitting area with a table, a narrow kitchen, a closed door. Maybe that was the bathroom or a bedroom. No sign of the man's sack. Trodden hurried around to the other side and peeped through the other window. An empty bedroom with a made bed and shut wardrobe. Everything ordered. The thief frowned and looked at his watch. Maybe if he warned Billy the Biz something was in the caravan, he'd get his goon Jerry to take care of it, and that would be the end of it. Debt paid, all forgiven, never steal from the off-license again. The alternative? Look for a different mobile home. And if he didn't find one in time, welcome to Broken Bones R Us. Tyler glanced over his shoulder. Who knew when the weird vampire guy would be back, either? 10 minutes later, the metro was churning up turf as it reversed at speed into the field. 8:26. The teenager bent his knees, closed his eyes, and lifted the dirty tow hitch. He wasn't sure what he expected. Perhaps a roar or violent bang from inside. At the very least, he assumed the caravan would be heavy with its concealed, living load. But it rolled over the bumpy turf without complaint and eased onto the car's tow bar. The Metro's rear end sank, but held the weight. Tyler hurried around to the driver's door and heard a high-pitched shriek. He turned and spotted Dracula's stick-like outline, thin arms swinging, bony legs pumping, cape billowing, scampering across the field. His shrill screaming carried over the grass. "He's mine! You can't have him! He's mine!" Tyler Trodden didn't hesitate. He flipped the bird and jumped into the idling car. Mud spraying, slipping and sliding. Then the tyres gained purchase, and he was back out on the country lane. 9 o'clock. Tyler punched the ceiling, whooped, "Woo! Yes!" and gritted his shattered teeth against the pain in his rib. He glanced at his watch. 3 hours until the deadline. He said, "Stay calm," he thought. "Keep to the speed limits, nothing stupid. Stacy will be okay." 9:29. Tyler parked outside Billy's The King William pub. On the sign there was a gaudy image of the gangster's grinning red face, bedecked with a gold crown. The boy peeked in the grubby rearview mirror. The Caravan wasn't moving. Then he heard a loud guffaw.
"Well, bugger me with a pugil stick. Little fucker did it."
Sands was standing in his pub doorway, pink shell suit quivering in the breeze. His boss-eyed bodyguard, Jerry, bristled beside him, knuckles almost touching the pavement. One eye glowered at the teenager, the other fixed on the Caravan. Chuckademus and pliers as "Tease Me" was thudding on the jukebox behind them. The Biz nodded, and before the thief could move, Jerry had torn open the door and yanked Tyler from the seat. The thug's huge hand locked on the boy's shoulder. Trodden grimaced. Billy pointed a gold-coated digit at the Caravan. He asked,
"Where'd you get it, boy?"
Tyler hesitated. Sands waved his pudgy hand.
"Actually, fuck it, why am I even asking? Let's have a butcher's then."
Jerry shoved the teenager to the Caravan door. His bare paw remained on Tyler's bruised shoulder. The boy raised his sweaty palm to the handle and paused. His heart was fighting to break free, every muscle braced. He felt Billy's steak breath on his ear. The shell-suited gangster hissed,
"Well, sold up. Open it, you little shit."
Jerry's grip tightened, but Tyler didn't feel the pain. Time slowed. The boy clasped the door, took a breath, and opened. 9:56. Tyler felt himself jerked backwards. Jerry secured him to the pavement as Sands clambered into the Caravan. The floor groaned under his weight. Billy disappeared into the sitting area. Trodden and the thug watched through a window as the gangster plonked onto the sofa. His red face broke into a garish grin. He said,
"This'll do nicely."
A tentative smile crept across Tyler's cracked lips. Jerry's clasp loosened. The boy thought, "It's going to be okay." Then there was a thud. The bedroom door banged open. Billy The Biz Sands yelled, "What the fuck?" And all hell broke loose. 10:22. Tyler and Jerry gawped as a pink, pulsating, sludgy mass materialized in the bedroom doorway. It had no legs, but was bouncing on thrashing, stumpy tentacles. 2 yellow orbs sat deep in the wrinkled flesh and rotated in different directions, like Jerry's eyes. A tiny tusk emerged from beneath a flap of skin. A bucking head without a body. It was the size of a space hopper toy. The yellow circles aligned and twisted sideways, zeroing in on the sitting area. And Sands. There was a sudden piercing, wheezing screech like the sound of a foot pump, and the pink space hopper doubled in size. From the sofa, unable to move, the gangster's balls shriveled and eyes widened. The thing's tentacles extended and lifted the enlarged, splotchy cranium. It scraped against the insides of the mobile home as it rose to the ceiling. The agitated brain twitched, tilted backwards, and hung suspended at an angle. From the pavement, Tyler and Jerry looked on. Frozen to the seat, Billy stared. Then the creature catapulted across the caravan, and the gangster finally reacted. He screamed. The caravan convulsed, and the Metro swayed on its tow hitch. The creature's skin flap unfurled, and the tusk shifted sideways, revealing an enormous, glistening pink opening within the mass. Like a sock, it slid over the gangster's head and torso. The tentacles scooped up his legs and tucked them into the feasting chasm as it worked its way downwards. Within seconds, Billy Sands was no longer the Biz. Jerry unleashed a bellow and pitched Tyler to the floor. There was a flash of grey as the thug scrabbled on a knuckle duster. The caravan lurched again. The teenager curled into a ball and covered his head. A shiny tentacle whipped through the doorway, wrapped around Jerry's neck, and snapped it backwards. One stunned eye fixed on Tyler, while the other bored into its fate. Then the thug was gone too. Trodden staggered to his feet and slammed the door shut. The caravan rocked one final time as if releasing a belch, and then settled on its wheels. "11:33. Tyler Trodden closed the field gate and stared at the caravan. He didn't know if returning the mobile home and its inhabitant to the vampire guy was the right thing to do, but he'd figured he couldn't leave it outside the pub. Too much potential for unwitting victims. He reasoned maybe Dracula was feeding it chicken. Then he shook his head. There was a phone box in the next village, an anonymous call to the police. He sat in the car and realized he really wanted a beer. He reached inside his pocket and retrieved a 20p coin. Not enough for a drink. Then he smiled and tasted his own blood as the cuts split on his lips. Billy's booze was open. The Caravan by Mark Humphries. You can find more of Mr. Humphries' fiction through his Facebook page. We'll put a link in our website's featured authors section. Oh, it's certainly nice to be back with you again, gentle listener. Things have been a bit crazy at our end in 2025 so far, but rest assured, our commitment to unease continues unabated. The show must go on. You know, we were blessed with quite an onslaught of story submissions in January, some of which will be appearing on Nocturnal Transmissions in upcoming episodes. If you are a writer and would like to have some of your work put through the Nocturnal Transmissions transmogrifier, as it were, send it on in. Our email is noctranspodcast@gmail.com. That's NOCTRANS podcast. Or you can always just go to the contact page on our website. Up to you. This transmission was transmitted by Nocturnal Transmissions, thanks in no small part to the generous assistance of our Patreon subscribers, into whose ranks we happily welcome new acolytes: Queen Cam, Ali Ahmed, Brick, Lisa Geisler, Miss Peachy, and Julia Ember. Welcome. And now, as we shuffle off into this good night, we wish to extend a special thank you to our esteemed cohorts, the true believers who make this production's cold little heart tick. Amanda Moore, Heathen Soul, Eugene Petrie, Sam Hankins, Tim Howard, JB, Johnny Kelly, Rachel Brown, Daniel Kamiankowski, Alex Brewis, Wayne Prince, Arnie Frank, Rebecca Gates, Kel Wielden, Mudkip, Drenny, Adam, Bull Swifney, Robert Troy Hampton Peterson, Evan Dooley, Tippy Polo, Alicia Townsend, Daniel Clanton, Jerry Taylor, Andy Shammy, and Jimmy Mack. All non-public domain stories are featured with the permission of the authors. All voices and production are concocted by Kristin Holland. Until next time, as always, watch the skies, fear the dark, and don't trust anyone, especially yourself. Good night, gentle listener.
Good night, good night. I'll see you in the morning. Good night, good night. I'll see you with the dawning. Sunshine will change the night today. Shadows will all be chased away. It's not goodbye, just time to say good night. Oh